Welcome back to the dojo, y'all. Welcome back to the daily discussions. I'm your host, Professor Hawk Sensei, and I'm glad you're tuning in. I'm glad you could make it. Got a good one for you today. The topic of discussion: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm almost positive, because it's been said time and time again throughout the ages. If you're familiar with anime, you've seen it countless times, especially with Dragon Ball Z. They got this thing called a Zenkai boost. I can explain that, but we'll touch on that after I finish this little intro. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. When I first heard that statement, I said I could understand it, but why? If it don't kill you, it make you stronger. So you mean to tell me if I survive a concussive blast that blew off all my limbs, it'll make me stronger? Really? Yes, but not in the sense that you were thinking as a child in the physical, literal sense. No. Think about how hard it is for somebody to wake up every day with missing limbs, when there was a time where they had that limb before. You don't think that's hard? You don't think that's difficult? And you don't think someone would have to be of a certain level of strength or endurance or wherewithal to be able to live in a world that's designed for people with two hands or two legs or two eyes or whatever, one heart, one brain, one genitalia? But that's what I'm saying. When you listen to that statement, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you may look at it in a literal sense, never understanding the philosophical or the spiritual, the metaphysical, or the deeper meaning. I'm not trying to get scientific on you. All these phrases and words that I use, you can look them up at your discretion. You can pause the video, put the closed captions on the video. When I talk, more often than not, it's going to hit 90% of the time, and the word's going to be right. It'll be. But back to the subject matter. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? They say that when you lose one of your senses, it makes the others like 10 times stronger. So they say when you lose your sight, when you lose your sight, you begin to smell better. You begin to hear better. You have a greater appreciation for how you can feel things, because now your hands are your eyes. You feel your way around. The vibrations are different. The vibrations have much more value to you. I would think somebody who is blind, who lives in a world where everything's designed for you to be able to see. Can you imagine that? Not being able to see. I'm not talking about if your vision is blurry. No, I'm talking you can't see a damn thing. And yet they wake up every day and open their eyes or take a deep breath, because they might not open their eyes, but I'm sure they do. You know what I mean? You still gotta use the things, they there, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to be offensive. I just rambling. But I'm sure it takes a certain level. It takes a certain level of wherewithal, fortitude, strength, whatever you want to call it. It takes a whole lot to want to keep tethered to this reality when you feel like you've lost it all. You know what I mean? When you feel like you've lost it all, you ready, like, you know what? Throwing in the towel. I'm done with this shit. And I can understand it. Because a very close relative of mine did that. Threw in the towel, said, fuck, I'm done. But hey, everybody got their own way. Just to be able to keep going after losing somebody so close to you, it makes you stronger. You have no choice but to be stronger. You know what I mean? You look in the animal kingdom, and I know I said this before, but it was a long time ago. You look in the animal kingdom, right? We can clearly see that animals, beasts of the field, they mourn the death of their kind. They mourn the death of their kind. So, you look at that. As savage and vicious as the jungles in the animal kingdom can be, nature itself, and they still find time to mourn their loved ones and their kin. They feel emotion just as we do. But here's the focal point. They don't stay in their grief. Because if they did, they'd get eaten up by a lion or any other predator crossing the savannah or the riverbanks or the Amazon or wherever they at. It don't matter. Even predators get preyed upon. Not just for food, just for territory. Get the fuck up out of here. You ain't supposed to be here. Lions have been attacked by rhinos and hippos. You know what I mean? Territory. But before I finish this discussion, I want to remind you that if you're still breathing, you're still here. You're still waking up every day. Every day you wake up, you're stronger. You may not see it, you may not notice it, but it is undoubtedly the truth. Every single night when you go to sleep, you can pass away in your sleep. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Even when you have been weakened, you have gained a new kind of strength. It's not always just a literal physical sense. Sometimes it's spiritual. And sometimes it's something we can't even fathom. But no matter what you're going through in life, no matter how the situation may look, no matter how much the odds may not be in your favor, all you gotta do is survive, and you'll be stronger because of it. That being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. Hope you're waking up every day with a plan, a purpose, and a smile. If not waking up with a plan, a purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you're waking up. Till next time, y'all. Class dismissed. I ain't mean to tell you that, but whatever. You ain't gonna see me pick it up.